So for October's 2017 Throwback Day, I wanted to throw a little bit of science fiction slash horror to the mix today, and there was only one movie that stuck out for me in regards to very interesting and very outlandish, and that of course is the 1927 black and white silent film from Germany directed by Fritz Lang, Metropolis. This is a movie that I really didn't know much about except for its name and of course the legendary robot that is featured in the film, but I knew that one day it was going to be a time for me to finally see this movie, especially considering the fact that I've been watching a lot of classics. So this movie is not really the hardest one to follow, unless you are someone who never watched a silent film. It might be a little bit difficult for you, but it is the story of a far-off, outlandish future, and there are two series of people. Lavish, rich lifestyle livers, and they have all the power, and they live in this beautiful city. But what most of them don't know is that underneath the city there is this extreme low class of people that is basically being forced like slaves to keep the power of Metropolis running. And one day the son of the man who runs the whole city sees a woman who is showing all of these poor children this paradise that they can never live. And she says to them that these are your brothers and sisters, gaze upon them. And the son of the man who runs the city sees the woman, he falls in love, and when he tries to find her, he is exposed to a whole world that he never knew existed, and he knows that change has to be made. So I went into this film with a very open mind. I was very curious to see what this movie was about, especially considering the fact that it is called a landmark in science fiction, and I can definitely see where they're coming from. What I also realize is that this movie takes a lot of stories from the past, elements that were taken from the Bible, elements that were taken from Shakespeare, and elements that were taken from early science fiction work. I saw a lot of H.G. Wells and Jules Verne elements in there that really took this story and shaped it into what it was. And one of the things that I can also say is the fact that a lot of future science fiction authors and film directors took a lot from this movie based on what they did for the time. Now, I wouldn't say that this is the best movie that I've ever seen. I mean, I feel that there were some parts that kind of dragged. I thought that there were some parts that were a little bit boring, but I will say that because of the innovation, because of what this film means in the world of filmmaking, in the world of science fiction and fantasy, I can definitely say that it's one of the better films. The sets that were made, these beautiful sets, especially for a time like 1927, it is incredible how much they were able to accomplish for the time, how they were able to really make these beautiful futuristic-like pieces, and how they really made this look like a true science fiction film in the times when science fiction and fantasy was something that was not necessarily as popular amongst many. It's also got some very powerful story elements. There are elements of friendship, elements of betrayal, the struggles of holding on to or losing power, the concepts of false idolatry, so many things that a lot of people could take to heart, and I think that that includes one of the major characters of the story, who is the mad scientist that creates the robot. This guy has been instructed to do so for the sake of making paradise even greater, but what people don't know is the fact that he has his own agenda. It's like, when I am officially instructed to do something by the greatest man with all the power, why don't I just take that idea and try and steal his power? I would definitely say that it is a movie that everybody should see at least once. I mean, if you are a big fan of science fiction and fantasy, and you want to see a true pioneering film, it's a movie that will definitely interest you. It is a movie that might make you feel a little bit unsettled. There were some parts of the story that really showed great depictions of loss, of slavery, of anarchy, whole bunch of things that really weren't done in filmmaking at the time. And again, it's a real landmark. It's just one of those movies that you can understand after you've seen it, whether you like it or not, that this is a movie that really changed everything, and this is a movie that just opened our eyes as people, and we just took those ideas and we just ran with them for future film and entertainment projects. It's not a movie I'd necessarily want to see again, although I don't even think it's entirely possible to do so unless you have a streaming service like Netflix. I don't even know if it's even on home video or Blu-ray. I'm pretty certain that it is, but it's not something that I would want to own personally. But all I can say is that I'm thrilled that I've seen Metropolis. I am going to be giving Metropolis 3 stars out of 4, merely because of the fact that I feel that not everybody's really gonna like it. That's just the way that I feel about it. I mean, there are some people that, you know, are film fans, and they just don't understand the concept of the silent movie. If you want to see what a silent movie is all about, and you really never saw one in your life, especially if you're not really the biggest film appreciator, see The Artist first. I actually did see that movie, and I thought that it was wonderful. It was just a modern-day take on the concept of the silent film. I think it'll be a nice little stepping stone for you, and then go see a movie like Metropolis. But as a science fiction fan, as a fantasy fan, if you're someone that just wants to see something innovative and something different, especially for the time, I think you might actually enjoy it very much. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please put your comments in the box below and let's discuss Metropolis, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.